It was way back in 2010 when Ninja Theory released Enslaved, Odyssey to the West. It was a solid, plot twist-filled story about Trip enslaving Monkey to navigate west to see her father at this old windmill farm through an apocalyptic wasteland infested with gigantic robots. It had crazy melee combos, long-range shooting, climbing, over-the-top set pieces, and ridiculously good voice acting and motion capture that's always made it stick in my memory for the last 15 years, and if you've got the time, I made a pretty solid deep dive video about it, which I recommend watching as a refresher before this, or just go watch that instead. Pigsy's Perfect 10 released 1 month after Odyssey to the West as a prequel DLC starring Pigsy. I knew going into this that it was going to be a way smaller game, but what I didn't know is just how different everything would be. Is that a good thing though? Let's find out. This is Pigsy's Perfect 10. Let's start at the most logical starting point, right at the start. So the story starts with Pigsy, sad about how he's got nobody to talk to or hang out with. He's stuck at Pigsyland all on his own. Bored and looking for something to do, he throws on his Batman Detective Vision monocle and heads out to shoot some targets for fun. While doing this, a light bulb goes off in his head and he has an idea. Build a robot friend that he can hang out with. Truffles is the little flying robot that hangs out with Pigsy, but Pigsy doesn't really think of him as a friend. Despite the little guy having a ton of personality, and a voice box that makes puppy-like noises, and a screen that shows emotion, Pigsy, you're kind of a jerk. He gets to work and draws up a diagram on how to build a friend, but realizes he needs to find 3 components to do it. That's unfortunately, and I mean really unfortunately, most of the story here. Pigsy needs to find the 3 components to build a friend. Though the first game's plot had its own share of issues, it definitely wasn't even close to this simple. Some stuff will happen later here, but let's move on to the gameplay. Starting with the climbing. The climbing in this game is different than Enslaved 2. Pigsy is too fat to jump, but he has a grapple hook, which is used a lot. Climbing's little more than just running, vaulting, and pushing circle to grapple up to the preset mandatory grapple points. There's nothing stopping you from just mashing circle if you don't know where to go. It's not mapped to roll or anything like that. Usually, you just reach a dead end, push circle, and hope that solves it for you, and it usually will. That is truly all there is to the climbing gameplay here, and it's really weak. You run forward and watch the same grapple animation repeated over and over to transition between enemy zones, which I suppose the enemies do keep it a little bit fun. You can see here, the game keeps throwing enemies at you while you're trying to climb, which starts destroying everything you're climbing, keeping it fast-paced. The combat at the start of the game is pretty rough, but it will get better. At this point in the game, Pigsy can pretty much just shoot. So headshots kill in 1 hit, and if any robot gets close, he can stun them with triangle. There's not any actual melee combat or combos like with Monkey. This is literally all you can do for the first mission, and it really plays just like a tutorial for how the stealth and enemy AI works. More on the AI later, but the stealth is really basic. Enemies have back and forth walking patterns and have vision cones that... Look, you've played a stealth game before, you get it. The main difference here is that there's no takedown button if you go up behind an enemy. You just sneak. Waist-high walls are set in perfectly placed paths, evenly spaced conveniently to the exact distance that Pigsy can roll, and that remains throughout the entire game. Pigsy has really good luck, I guess. He's also lucky that the enemies are so goddamn stupid. They never look around cover, they just stand there and make you wait for them to turn around. They don't search for you ever, since they only have 2 alert states. They're either oblivious to your presence or in full-on attack mode, and will almost immediately forget about your presence if you slip away for just a few seconds. The AI can be remarkably terrible, but that's kind of a good thing here, at least in the early game, because if Pigsy does get caught, he dies almost immediately. The problem with bad AI in a stealth game like this is that you just don't feel like you're outsmarting them at any point. Like here, check this out. I get caught by a laser guy, so the laser guy beside him starts shooting at me. Meanwhile, the other 2 patrolling robots are entirely oblivious to my presence. If I snipe right beside their head, they're still entirely unaware that I'm here. I can even shoot the one beside it, and the other just doesn't care. Later enemies do get smarter once Pigsy has the gadgets to fight them, which we'll talk about the gadgets in a sec, but first let's look at the guns. Or, well, gun. There's only 1 gun, but it's versatile enough that it feels like multiple. You can shoot a single high damage shot, which kills most enemies in 2 body shots, but has to be reloaded after each shot. You can push R3 to scope with it like it's a sniper too, which is useful for headshots. Then if you hold R2, you fire it like a burst fire machine gun. This is solid, but barely does any damage, and it takes forever to get kills.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm glad I thought of that.
On his way while sneaking around and fighting mechs, Pigsy ends up picking up the distract device. It works the exact same as the decoy in Odyssey to the West. It spawns a decoy that distracts enemies for a few seconds. The distract device is crazy useful though, since enemies will always shoot at the decoy. Even if you're getting shot at or charged at by one, just throw a decoy and everybody will divert their attention to it, ignoring Pigsy. I'm just gonna talk about all the gadgets now. You pick them up throughout the game in this order. Next one he gets is the EMP. This does exactly what you think it does. It temporarily stuns all enemies in a gigantic zone, freezing them in place and letting Pigsy take them out with his gun or other gadgets. Not much more to say about this one though, but next up is the ally device. Ally device is possibly the most useful, at least for me. You put it down on the ground like a mine and can push square to explode it, causing any enemies in its blast radius to switch sides and start attacking their robot friends. The enemy robots know immediately when their buddies have switched sides though, so if you do this to weak enemies, it's most likely just gonna get killed by the other enemies. The last one you get is actually just a remote detonated mine. This kills all enemies in one hit. Well, all enemies except for this massive robot dog. This is the one boss battle in the game and you know what, we'll talk about the boss battle after. Mostly, I found the mine to be the most useless gadget in the arsenal. Why would I lay one of these down and kill an enemy when I can lay one of these down and have an enemy literally switch to my side? Seems crazy to me. All the gadgets are on a cooldown though, so the only real reason to use it is if you're waiting for your ally device to come back and you need to kill an enemy that's charging at you. I said it earlier as well, but really, once you have all 4 devices, it's the combination of them that makes this really fun. You'll need to constantly switch between gadgets and figure out in a stealth puzzle-like way how to get past these enemy encounters. You start to learn all these cool little tricks, like having an ally device at your feet just in case you get caught and rushed by enemies. You start doing things like using the distract device to distract a turret, then ally it to have the turret slaughter hordes of robots. Then keep your EMP ready while the others recharge just in case the enemies get through. You're always at least a little bit on edge, knowing an enemy can jump out at you from off screen and somewhat unfairly kill you at a moment's notice. The combat is actually really fun in the second half of the game. It's a bit of a shame that you don't just have all these to play with from the very start, since the entire beginning missions really do feel like boring filler tutorial nonsense. A couple other little things before we get to the boss battle and the finale. This game has collectibles if you're a completionist. Pigsy can find 12 porno mags hidden throughout the levels as well as 27 food items. Other than completionist bragging rights and I guess achievements, these don't get you anything in game. There's no unlockable costumes or concept art, no upgrade tree, there's literally nothing. There's just collectibles. Also, being part of the same installation as the main game, this game has all the issues with needing to change certain graphic settings in the ini file as well. More on that in the main video. One more quick thing though is that if you're a fan of enabling Steam's gyro aim in shooters, it just doesn't work here. But anyway, let's get to the ending. The giant robot dog set piece is the only set piece in this entire game, and it's about 10% as epic as even the lamest action moments from Odyssey to the West. Pigsy runs away in a Crash Bandicoot style while it chases him just like in Odyssey to the West, but ends up crawling through a linear pathway forever while it searches for him. There's no way to get caught and no gameplay here at all. It really is just a long, pretty, boring cutscene. When you do finally get to the fight, it isn't even a fight. None of your gadgets work on it, and you quite literally just need to sneak past it, open the door, and leave. The robot dog then just kind of chases Pigsy until a wall collapses, and that's pretty much it. He dies in a cutscene. As far as the story, what happens at the end is, well, Pigsy finds the 3 pieces to make his new girlfriend. Turns out, he needs to use truffles as a heart for the new robot, though. Without thinking about it for even a single second, he shoves truffles into the body of the robot, but well, it ends up getting taken away by the enemies to use as scrap metal. The last mission of the game is honestly really fun, fighting your way to get your new robot friend back. Making the journey without Truffles by his side, Pigsy starts to realize just how much he misses Truffles. He starts to actually feel bad about how he's been treating the poor little guy throughout the entire game, and is focused on just getting his old buddy back so he can apologize for how he's been abusing him.
Did you see that, buddy boy? What'd you say, little fella? Truffles? There it was. Silence.
This mission is non-stop. It's filled with explosive barrels, waves and waves of enemies, and just really cool moments while Pigsy chases the ship that's holding Truffles. Eventually, he finds Truffles.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Pigsy pulls Truffles, who, by the way, was shot by an enemy earlier in the game, and he's been glitching out ever since that happened. But that's probably why the girlfriend robot went all crazy and ran out of Pigsyland in the first place, actually. But yeah, he grabs Truffles and starts running back to Pigsyland to repair him, but Pigsy loses the only friend he's ever had, and learns to never take friendship for granted. He places a flower over top of Truffles' screen, vowing to never forget the lesson of friendship that he's just learned. Rest in peace, Truffles.
You see, I'm a big ass man in a pea-brain world. I spent my life looking for a home-loving girl. I killed every man from here to Tennessee. Oh yeah. And I'm the perfect age. And all the hot sound want me. Oh yeah, say hot to trot. Yeah, I woke up in the morning, and my baby, she was dead. Yeah, I woke up one morning, and my baby, she was dead. Cause I realized she was a robot. So I blew off her mechanical head. Oh yeah, kaboom! Meet Lola. You see, I'm a big ass man in a pea-brain world. And I spent my life looking for a home-loving girl. I killed every man from here to Tennessee. Oh yeah, bring it on, but I'm the perfect age. And all the hot sounds want me. Oh yeah, baby. So I went down to the junkyard, cause my baby, she was dead. So I went down to the junkyard, cause my baby, she was dead. I couldn't wake my old baby, so I thought I'd build me a new one instead. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Bring me the piece of plate. Let's work some Pigsy magic. Oh yeah. My life looking for a home-loving girl. I killed every man from here to Tennessee. Oh yeah, and I'm the perfect king. All the hot sounds, what do we need? Oh, they want me. Oh yeah, they want me. Hot to trot. Ooh.